I don't know if you saw this was going on, Sticks, but Brendan Herrera, who is a
Yes.
2A. Okay, so you're aware of his political runoff.
Yeah, losing by less than a point, by the way.
This freaking guy. You know what I thought of last night? It was like 12:30, and I was laying in bed. All I could think of was Styxhexenhammer 2028, because this YouTuber, we talk about this. I know Styx talks about it. I talk about
The
it.
AK guy.
Yeah, like be the change you want to see. This guy is a YouTuber, spent $1 million on his campaign, and it took 10 million to beat him by 400 votes. And
yeah, I'll be covering this tomorrow. While this is technically a loss on paper, it's also an enormous goddamn victory.
Massive. You know the machine is worried.
The differential with regards to this is so massively lopsided, and the margin so fucking low. This cannot be construed as anything other than a victory, except in name.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I covered it in a video today. I haven't yet uploaded, but this is a massive win. Like, this guy, and this shows you what goes with the power with these seats, right? The guy, okay, Brendan Herrera is running against the incumbent, who's many perceive as a rhino. That rhino
partyist,
yeah, he spent $10 million just for the ability to run for a House seat.
And keep in mind that his opponent, Brandon, was cast off as a nothing burger. Well, he's just a YouTuber. This is a meme campaign. Yeah. We don't have to worry about this too much. Okay, you outspent him 10-1, and you won by less than a point. Yeah, it speaks volumes about, by the way, the incumbent as well.
It speaks volumes about the incumbent, but it should be empowering to other people, other YouTubers or other people who want to get involved.
Yeah.
Like $1 million campaign is pretty affordable, and he gave them everything they could handle. Like,
can I have $1 million?
Maybe, but you know what, like it's I mean, just politically speaking, right? And then I think wasn't he getting money from like APAC or he was getting money from all these super PACs?
I thought it was the ADL.
Yeah, it was some.
I might be wrong.
It was some Jewish thing. Yeah, right. It was some Jewish thing. He's getting a bunch of money from that. $10 million.
And this is literally just one district. It's a House seat. Senate seats, they cost, the 10 million is the entry fee for a Senate seat or a gubernatorial bid at this point.
And what else is, you know what else is wild is he has to spend another 10 million in November. Like, he has to, like,
watch him lose.
Yeah, and I think he'll lose. Yeah, I think he'll lose to the Democrat.
I think I'll encourage the Brandon fans to just stand down and just be like, yeah, who cares? The Republicans in the House can't do anything meaningful anyway, so it doesn't really matter who controls it until there's more MAGA in there.
Yeah, the odds, I was just shocked. I was watching kind of the polling numbers coming in last night, and eventually I had to hang it up. It was like midnight, and they were at like 95% reporting. And I remember I was having PTSD flashbacks to like Trump's 2020 election. Like, okay, in Arizona, there's like 1% remaining. Is he going to find it there? Where is it from? Are we going to get enough votes?
Well, have you seen some of the archived early reporting? Because they were talking about, like, really early in, they're talking about Brandon Herrera getting like 25% of the vote or something like that.
No, I didn't, but I did look at last night in counties like Maverick County.
Yeah, the early reports, they started cycling in the news stories when the votes were still very much being counted, trying to make it look like he was less popular than he was. And then in the end, it was like, what is it, 0.7 apart or something?
He had 49% of the vote. Like,
this is basically like 2000 Florida.
Well,
it's basically the same margin.
Well, and this is what made me think about this was that the size of this district, 750,000 people. Is that right? It's some. I think so. I could be wrong, but
it encompasses San Antonio.
San Antonio. Yeah. So that's at least 400 or 500.
Beautiful city, by the way. You know.
Yeah, they got those big old women down there, I heard. But the 750,000 people. You probably know this, but if you don't, take a guess at the number of people that voted.
Yeah, it was
30,000. Like, if I'm Brendan Herrera right now, I'm like, Like, do you think he knows 100 people that didn't vote? You know what I mean? Like,
he's drunkenly stumbling from neighbor's house to neighbor's house and beating on their doors at the moment.
Yeah, like he got so, and so just everyone knows, like we are very congratulatory to Brendan. We're not
by the way, everyone, this is why you have to go out and vote, and preferably do a little bit more than that. Just take 2 hours out of your week to knock on a couple of doors, harvest 1 or 2 ballots, and that's literally all it takes. This was decided by less than 1,000 votes, and it was very, very meaningful.
If everyone in that group that voted for him told one other person, you know, and half of them showed up to vote, he would have won.
Yeah.
It's like everyone forgets. It's like, I don't know if you remember that episode. Do you remember the episode of, was it The Simpsons? Yes, The Simpsons.
I wouldn't know. I've never watched it.
Well, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Bart, the cool kid, is running for school president or school, whatever you call it, you know? And he thinks it's a shoe-in. He's outside congratulating everybody. Everyone's high-fiving, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And he starts to ask people, he's giving people cupcakes, and he's like, hey, thanks for voting for me. And he's like, oh, I didn't vote. And then, oh, I didn't vote. And I didn't vote. And I didn't vote. And they cut to the inside, and like the nerd and his one friend are the only people that voted, and he lost 2-0. Even though like it was, you know, it was supposed to be a runaway. So it's like, go vote. You know, you have to vote. Like we talked about this before. It's stuck in my craw ever since the 2020 election, telling people only to vote in person. Like that lost Trump the election, in my opinion. And I can't.
If people can vote early, they should do so, because there's no guarantee on election day you're going to be able to vote at all.
And the whole thing where
you could be dead, and I mean, if you die before then and haven't cast a ballot, you'll be a Democratic voter. So
for your rest of your life,
take care.
Well, what I try to tell people too is a lot of like people will say, but I vote in person because this, that, and the other thing. Oh, they can, you know, if I vote early, they'll do this or that. Bro, you don't think they allegedly do this or that when you vote in person? Look what happened in Maricopa County. Oh, you're mostly Trump voters, huh? Oops, the machine's broke. What a coincidence.
Yeah, what if you show up and the machine can't even read your ballot?
Which happened last year.
Are you going to drive 30 miles and then be told, like some people in Arizona were, well, we're sorry, it's not your voting precinct. We can't accept your ballot.
Or you
wait, what? I was told Sharpie to come here.
Yeah.
Okay, then you have to go back and you're like, well, the voting machine's still not working. I guess I can fuck myself.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go home and not vote. And you do that enough times and you lose an election.
There was a thing. Point.
Do you remember this thing where it was like they were using the wrong Sharpie or something like that to fill in?
Yes.
There was something like where the machines weren't reading it because
I thought that was in Arizona. Was that Georgia?
It happened in Wisconsin too when I voted. It was a big thing. Like while I was in line, they were like changing out the markers. They were like, oh, we got to use different markers. It's like all that shit like happens on voting day.
This is why we need hand counted only, paper only, no machines for counting, no machines for sorting of any kind. Fill them in with pencil, pen, or whatever the fuck you want to. They should all be gone through by hand.
I would approve machines as a check and have
only as a secondary level. Though.
Yeah, I would say like it's all hand counted.
You're telling me in the age of AI, I mean, you're not telling me, but I mean, like the voting, you're telling me in the age of AI, a machine can't tell that the button has been filled in regardless of what it was filled in with.
Yeah.
AI can't tell the difference between pencil and pen. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I would say hand count everything. It's been good enough for this country for 200 years before machines were a thing.
Yeah.
And you could use machines and say like, well, if the hand count is within, you know, if it's off by 3% or more, 2% or more, whatever that threshold is, that should trigger another hand count, not a machine count. And I have no problem with that. You know, I don't know how else to tell people, but this, you know, Brendan Herrera's story, it was really inspiring to me. I was like, damn, dude, he only needed 15,000 votes to win that election. I start looking around. I'm like, that's not that many. Like, there's probably 1,000 people in Wisconsin that watch my videos. Like, could I find some votes?
Probably more than 1,000. But
Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I asked Brendan to come on repeatedly on my show, and he just never did. So I don't know. But I thought I could have helped him out.
You should probably reach out to him again.
I've DM'd him multiple times. He never replies. He did reply at one time. Maybe I'm a bit of a brand risk. I get that. Like, it's it's a little different.
Yeah, it could have been, but now the election's over, so
Yeah, I would 100% support him.
Let's go bombard him. Everyone, go message Brandon Herrera.
Yeah, tell him to come on a Wednesday, a Monday or a Wednesday with Styx and I, and we need to pick his brain because he bought $1 million in TV ads. Now, when you say Styx, can I have $1 million? I assume he did some crowdfunding, right? And he had powerful friends like Donut Operator and all these other guys that helped fund that. So I bet that probably didn't even come out of his pocket. So one guy with the support of his viewers got to make this Rhino establishment like have a tight butthole all night long and only squeak out a win. Yeah, for 1/10 of the price. And
this is the power of the online commentary that people like us do.
Yeah,
and the power of the off-hook campaigns. They're very, very top heavy. It's sort of like imagine that you have a battle tank. It's got like 5 fucking feet of armor, but it can barely move, and it's extremely slow, and it guzzles gas too. It means it has to have a tanker behind it just in order to move 2 miles. And you're in a little tank or an APC or something. You don't have nearly as much firepower or armor, but you can run rings around them. They can't hit you. Well, who wins that battle? Sort of like the Merrimack and Monitor sort of story. The Confederates may have had the same problem. They overbuilt.
Yeah, So, as a cautionary tale, or as a white pill, more people need to do what Brendan Herrera did: identify the weak districts and consider running, because these people are weaker than you think. And even when they have all the money, it turns out people don't like them very much.
The leftoids have been doing this in far left districts too. There's a precedent for this.
How do you think AOC got in?
Exactly. Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, all of these others. What did they do? They didn't come in and go up against a Republican. A Republican can never win in their districts. They went up against neoliberal Democrats that were older, generally male and white, and they forced them out in order to take their seats. Why can't Republicans that believe in MAGA or libertarianism do exactly the same thing? Come at them from the right wing, Brandon Herrera style, and smash him out of the way. He almost succeeded here. That is in itself a victory.